So that is right. Appreciate that, Christina, and everything you do always. So everybody, hello. I'm glad that their dog is doing well.
This is Diddy, my sister's dog, and he's very happy to be on.
So I'm glad, everybody's welcome to lead services. So there you go.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So happy to see all of you back. Um, if the first thing I want to do is I'm not going to repeat myself because Christina has gently sent you a copy of our last session. So I want to make sure that if you haven't been there or as probably needed, you review it because there are a lot of things in there. I will just mention a few, but I just wanted to know one of the main things we talked about was about the kind of clothing that we have. We talked about a talit, we talked about tefillin, we talked about a kippah. We talked about the Torah dressing. So those are things that are important. We also talked about the tools that we need, and for that we mentioned the Siddur, that we're going to now have an electronic copy that is going to, for me to make it easier. But I'm going to give you pages so you have an idea of how that works. We also talked about um, the Chumash. Remember Chumash from the number Chamesh, 5, the 5 books of Moses. Both the Siddur and the Chumash contain text, in the particular of the Chumash, the text of the Torah that is read publicly, and also contained explanations that can be, I hope, very not only useful to understand text that sometimes is a little bit arid, but also inspirational in many ways. And the Siddur has all kinds of things on the side. I'm just going to do it for Steve, right? You can see on the margins, they are all sometimes explanations of this phrase, of the prayers. Sometimes they are poems or other readings that might be useful to you. I hope you take advantage of it. So if you are on page 155 of your Siddur, you're going to find this that goes Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Yes? So that would be the first thing of this central prayer. We're look. And I'm going to actually open up a little bit because I want to show you something that perhaps, let me see if I can bring this page. I don't think I can bring it down anyway. So here we go. Do you all see the Hebrew text? So two things happen. On the left side in red, you're going to see a transliteration in case that you want to become a little more familiar, and at home you're not exactly familiar on the Hebrew text. But the reason why I wanted to show you this is because there is more than the text itself in here. Anyone that can intervene, can you tell me what else do you see in this particular text other than the obvious letters and vowels? What else do you see in it? Don't be shy.
There's explanations, explanatory
On the
notes.
sides, yes, but I am talking about the text in particular.
Oh, the text.
The text contains more. You know them. They are consonants and they are vowels, right? Now, is that all that there is? The answer is no. Next time you'll win the car. This time you're not winning it. So notice in here, I'm going to show it in this case. Can you see a little pizzicle underneath and one on top of that? Please say yes, so I know that you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
So those are called the Ta'amei HaMikra, or the signs for the reading. These are the signs that permit us to actually read from the Torah, as I hope if you haven't done it, that there's going to be a fantastic opportunity for you, and we would train together to make it happen. In fact, one of the things that I would like very much for us to do is to begin training and finding even 3 verses that every one of you can read from the Torah, so we know that this is not only for clergy to do, this is also for every one of us to be able to train ourselves. Little by little, we'll learn some more, and that's not yet where I am, but I just wanted to show you something. You know how to chant this. Ve'ahavta. Yes?
Yeah, he's Adonai Elohim. Yes.
Yeah. Don't go farther. Just go with one. I get enough. You got that? That's great. So if you notice, they are a little pizzicle under the aleph, the letter aleph here.
Yes.
See? And there is also another one over there on top
Hey.
of the letter tav.
Oh, yeah.
Right there on top.
See it?
Right? So some of the signs are underneath and some of the signs are on top, and those have 3 reasons to be. One of them is to grammatical. In other words, and you will love your God, the true God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Right? I'm translating for you. And you notice that when I say might, you came to this little parallel parking in here, there's 2 dots. Do you all see them?
Yes.
Yes, you do. That's fantastic. Yeah. So that indicates that one of the verses, or psukim, or pasuk in the singular, this is one of the verses of the Torah, and then it continues on, and now you're going to spot another one, and then you continue on and you're going to spot another one.
Interesting.
And then, yes, that's why you're here, so you learn something that then we can all study together. So that is the separation of all the verses. In the Torah, you won't see any of this. The Torah doesn't have any separations at all, doesn't have chapters, doesn't have verses, doesn't have paragraphs. The only thing that it has is the words, if you have them in here, and then you will be able, by using another book called a tikkun. So I don't know if you can see, but it's going to have all the Hebrew text without any separations whatsoever. So in any case, what I just sung for you, Behavta, contains 2 signs, one underneath and one on top. I'm not going to teach them to you today, but I just wanted to know that. And the other thing that is important for you to know is that in the bottom of this, it has these words in here. They are not Greek. They do not have vowels, but it says Devarim Vav. Devarim Vav Dalet Tet. Let's just look at that. Of course, I could make it easy for you and say, oh, you can go to the left side of the page and read that says Deuteronomy 6:4-9, which means that this word Devarim doesn't mean Deuteronomy, is the 5th book of the Torah, right? In the Torah, the books are associated. Deuteronomy is to teach again. Devarim means these things, and simply the book begins with the words Ele hadevarim, these are the things, and since people learn by memory, then that's why the book has that name. This letter Vav in here is used in a as a number. If you look at the letters, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, so that would mean 6. And in this case means chapter 6. And then letters Dalet, I'll just tell you, is 4, and Tet, 9. So what it's telling you in here, you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 6 verses in this area. And sure enough, one in here, the second in here, third,
right.
6 verses. And those are 6 verses that are indeed, and if you weren't going to remember, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. That I sang right now, that I chanted, תבהיר מרחת לבך סוף עלייה. So that's the particular sound that you do at the end of any aliyah. At any aliyah, that's what you're gonna hear. If you hear ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, you know we have finished one of the aliyot. Now the word aliyah has many meanings, right? Aliyah, you're probably familiar by the fact, I'm going to stop the sharing. You're probably familiar that the fact that the word aliyah is associated with what? Aliyah to the land of Israel, right? When one emigrates to the land of Israel, we say we make aliyah. We make aliyah. Why? La'alot means to ascend. I'm sorry?
No, that's okay. I said to go up.
To go up, to ascend. Yes. Very good. To ascend. And since we think that spiritually we ascend to the land of Israel, we call it aliyah. In the same way, when we go to the Torah, we also call it an aliyah, because we are spiritually ascending. In some cases, we physically ascend because there are some steps, but for the most part, what is meant to be is that we ascend to a different spiritual realm. The reading of the Torah is not a tune, is not a melody. The idea of I explained that one of the reasons of using this so-called trope is to make the grammatical separations that are needed. Like if you say Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz, in the beginning God created heaven and earth, but if you say Bereshit bara Elohim, you say Mr. Bereshit created God. Not great. Not great. So if you would have made a period, put a period there, you would be coming with a text that is not the intention of the Torah. That's why the Masoretes created this system that includes the grammar that I said, commas and periods, and also the way to accentuate the words. The word aretz is as accentuated at the beginning of the word because the sign that I'm talking about is on the aleph and not later. So that's why you know that the word is aretz. And finally, to include some kind of a musical rendition, because at a time when microphones were not available, the rabbis understood that for you to be heard, especially if you were at a market, so to speak, and that's where they were actually reading the Torah, only they will be heard if you were not just speaking. If I speak is one way, but if I tell you this, then it goes farther. So that's what it was done. Now, different communities in the world would actually use the same grammar and the same accentuation of the words. The musical rendition will be different.
Oh.
If anybody doesn't understand what I just told you, Sherry, thank you for that question. It's a very important question. What you are familiar with, that is the Lithuanian way of chanting. It's not even throughout the Ashkenazi world. So there are many more ways of chanting, and leaving at that because I want to do other things, and I'm concerned that we're not going to cover them. So I thank you for that. And so we talked about the chanting of the Torah, and I was mentioning here, I was showing you something called the Torah blessings. If you cannot see it very well in here, I sent you a copy of it, so you should be able to download it. So what did I write in here? I'll just speak. After the announcement, the aliyah to the congregation, you'll be invited by name to come up to the bima. The bima, by the way, is also an Ashkenazi mentioned of the place where the Torah is being read, but that's what we will have for now. So please have your Hebrew name ready. So if somebody will call me, they would say, Ya'amod, stand, Rachamim ben Shabtai uVictoria. That would be my Hebrew name. L'aliyah Harishona, to the first aliyah, right? And once you do that, we stand at the right of the table. I should have said something else before this. This is incomplete. One of the questions that you may ask yourselves is, do I come from the right or from the left of the table where the Torah is? The answer is the closest.
Okay.
Or the right or the left. If you are on the left side, you come from the left. If you are on the right side, you come from the right, because the answer is the fastest you can come to the Torah. Also, I didn't say something because at the time I couldn't imagine that this could be possible. When people are offered an aliyah, some people say, I don't want one. Chas v'chalila. Absolutely impossible to say no. You cannot say no. I see, all the dogs in the world are actually studying Torah. This is amazing. This is really good. I'm so happy. Right. So when somebody invites you to the Torah, you always say yes. There is no way you're gonna say no. Impossible. Impossible. No way. Now you say, oh, but maybe I don't know what I have to do. And that's what we are here to do. Right? So you stand at the table, at the right side of the table. They normally have, as we have at Agudas Israel, a laminated copy of the Torah blessings. That laminated copy of the Torah blessings actually contains the Hebrew words and a transliteration.
Other people don't have their faces. Oh, I know.
Hebrew words,
Come on.
transliteration.
Oh.
Before you even say one word, what's gonna happen is that the reader that has a yad, what's a yad? Yad in Hebrew means
Stick, the pointer.
it means the pointer, very good. And literal Hebrew, a yad is a hand.
Okay.
Oh.
Right? And you're right, Debbie, it's that pointer. Why do we use a pointer and we don't use our finger? Because our fingers contain oil, and therefore the parchment is very, very delicate, but even more importantly, because we don't want to touch the Torah with our hands, because they get defiled and defile the Torah. That's another 5 weeks study. So please just believe me.
Do we use our father's name when you're called up, or do you use your mother's name?
Very good. So first we use our own name.
Right.
And then we say, they're going to say Bat, in your case, the daughter of,
Mm-hmm.
going to say the name of your father.
Okay.
We use today also the name of the mother. In some congregations, more traditional, they're also going to ask you if you come from three parts of the Jewish people. The Kohen, if you are a priest, a Levi, if you are one of the teachers, and if you're Israel, the rest of the community. Why in traditional congregations would have that? Because they would think that the Kohen will be the first person that is invited to the Torah. It has nothing to do with our merits. It has something to do with your lineage. Families in general know if they come from a Kohen family or not. If your last name is Kohen, you probably are. But in general, people know. In my case, I'm part of the 90% of Israel. The second aliyah comes for the Levites of Levi. But let's forget about that for now. Your question was very precise, and I hope I answered it. Your name, the daughter of your father, your mother. Okay? They call you somebody that is the called the sheliach tzibur, the person that is leading the service will actually call. And then what the person that reads from the Torah, not necessarily the same person, the person that is reading from the Torah is going to show you with the yad, with the pointer, where this person is going to be reading from. I'm going to stop for a second because you're saying, why is that somebody is reading for you? Why is that you don't read yourself? And one of the things that had happened through centuries is that many people were not able to read from the Torah. It's difficult, it's not simple to do. So because they were not able, they refuse an aliyah because they would be embarrassed. Because of that situation, what the rabbis instituted is a Ba'al Kriya, a person that is a functioning person that just reads for everybody. If somebody reads for everybody, then no one is embarrassed. Right? Now, we're going to change things at Agudas Israel. Because now we're going to learn a little bit each of us, and every time people are going to be able to read from the Torah, and it's going to be our own congregants that are going to do it. And one of the things, and then we'll see how that works. But for now, when the reader, the Baal Kriya, is going to actually show you the place where they're going to read, you are going to touch with your talit, or rather I should say with your tzitzit, yeah? With the tzitzit of your talit, the place where that Torah reading is going to happen. You're going to touch it, and then, or if you don't have a talit, you're going to do that with a prayer book. And then you're going to kiss the tzitzit, or you're going to kiss the sidur that you're using as a sign of giving honor to the Torah, and not only honor, but love, not only honor, but love. So you're going to say these words, Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach, and you're going to use this chanting, Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. So two things I want to say. First of all, you notice that the word Adonai in here has only a hey with a little, right, apostrophe. That is because I don't know what you will be doing when you print this page. If this page will have the name of God, whether in any of these versions, written completely, you would not be able to throw a page of this caliber in the garbage. You will have to take it to a genitza, a place where you're bearing sacred objects. By the way, I hope that anyone is able to stop me if something that I'm saying is confusing or you want to know more about. So you chant, Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. The congregation will answer you, Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. And you will repeat that. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. I'm going to stop in here. Why is that this is happening? When you say Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach, you make an invitation and you say, let's all praise the honor God. And the congregation will say, yes, let's all praise God forever and ever. And you say, indeed, let's all praise God, the holy God, the honored God forever and ever. That's why this text is repeated. Yes? Is everybody clear? All right, let's do an example. Who wants to try? You get points for this. This is not only just for me.
I'll try it. I can do it.
No, I don't want Richard.
How about David?
David, yes. Go
All right.
ahead.
You ready? Baruch
Anything
Hu es Adonai Hamvorach.
we answer Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
So think.
Baruch
No,
Adonai.
no. I haven't gotten there. But you will there. You will get there. David, you're bad. You're fantastic. So I wanted to know that David did not follow entirely what I wrote in here. He did not sing Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. He said Baruch Hu es Adonai Hamvorach. Why did David do that? David did that because in Ashkenazi Hebrew, this letter Tav is pronounced S when it doesn't have a dot in it, right? It doesn't have a dot in it. How do we know that? Because when you greet somebody to have a good Sabbath, how do you greet them? You say, good Shabbos. Shabbos, because the Tav at the end of Shabbat is actually pronounced as a S when it doesn't have a dot. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Good. But in here, we're going to use the general version that you will pretty much everywhere you'll be fine. So we did this. Who else wants to try this much? David already has points. Who else wants it?
All right, I'll try.
Go ahead.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
And we answer Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. And you go.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Beautiful. That's it. That's it. Now, look. What David was going to do, and he will do it in a minute, is Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu im kol hamim ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. So I'm going to explain something. Somebody said, Who said, because somebody said home, because in here I became a troublemaker, and I gave you something that says Im kol amim, that God has chosen us with every other nation. The traditional version that you have in your Siddur, and I'm going to show that to you in a second, and I'm going to tell you which page that is. When you go to the your Siddur, you're going to find that that is not what it says. So if you have a Siddur, actually, I'm going to check this out and bring back the other version that we were having here. Right? If I keep going, okay. It says, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. Right? So it's translated, who has chosen us from among all peoples. Right? And you're probably going to see that on the right margin, if I could move this, I don't know, do you know how to do that, Christina?
You can zoom in on like a touchpad. I don't know if you're on a
Very good.
desktop or a laptop.
Okay.
If you zoom, like pinch to zoom, it can.
I got it. So look at this. Who has chosen us? At the moment of approaching the Torah, one may feel especially chosen and may all experience the moment as being directly commanded. Okay, so here you have explanations of some of this, right? So in any case, here are the words. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah. So then the Torah will be read, and once the reader concludes these words, Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chaye olam nata betochenu Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah. Right? If you are not sure of how to chant this, you can read it, and reading is totally fine. If you do not know how to read the Hebrew yet, you can always go to the left side of this page where you have the transliteration right here, right? Baruch et Adonai Borach, Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Va'ed. The person who is honored repeats the above response, and then it says this, and then so everything is already here, right? It's already here. I'm going to stop for a second, and I'm going to ask, is everybody clear? You better be clear, because I'm going to ask you to do this. Because no one, again, at Agudas Israel is going to say, no, I don't know how to read the brachot for the aliyah, because now you have no excuse, right?
Right.
It's beautiful. I noticed that we are 15 of us, and I'm going to tell you why this is so great. Because 15 in the numbers, the letter Yud is 10, and the letter Hey is 5. So that forms Yah, which is one of the names of God. So there you go, all right? So we talked about the central part, and I'm going to come back to that text that I just had for you. And I was first talking before about the Shema. And we have talked about the chants for the reading. This is the first, what I'm marking in here, is the first of the 3 paragraphs of the Shema, this Shema that is recited twice a day. Why? Beshochvecha ubekomecha, when you lie down and when you rise up. Yes? When you lie down. Why does it say lie down and rise up? For a very good reason, because in Judaism, the days begin in the evening, right? Vayehi erev, vayehi boker, in the creation you have, and there was evening and there was morning. The rabbis take that to mean that the days begin in the evening. And then, after that, you have a second paragraph that in some communities was once taken out and now is being brought back. What's the problem? We talked last week about the idea of responsibility, the fact that we can do whatever we want, we have freedom, but we also have consequences to our acts. So in here it says, if we will hear and obey the mitzvot that I command you this day, to love and serve Adonai your God with all your heart and all your soul, then I will grant the rain for your land in season, rain in autumn and rain in spring. So the problem in here was that people said, but what happened? I've been somebody that loved God with all my heart and all my mind, and I still had problems. And the part that they forget is that the Torah hardly ever speaks as an individual. It speaks in the collective. When it says Ve'aya im shamoa, if you, it doesn't mean you, Debbie, you, Christina, you, Richard. It means you, the whole community of Israel. In fact, it probably means the whole community of the world. It means that if you don't follow the commandments, which one of them is to protect the land, to protect the world that we live in, things are going to happen. And they may not be pretty. And tough luck. You say, oh, but why is God not so merciful? It's because we didn't allow it. Because we changed things. So that would be the second paragraph that comes from the book of Devarim, of Deuteronomy, Yud Aleph 11, 13 through 21. And then comes for another paragraph that many times we also chant. Look, Vayomer Adonai El Moshe Lemor. And noticed that every time we get to the parallel parking that separates verses, I go Yada Lemor Petil Techelet Acharehem Leloechem. So every time you hear that sounding, Yara, even if you're not terribly knowledgeable, you know what? That a verse has been concluded. Now, in here, Ani Adonai Elohechem sounds like what? Like the ending of an aliyah, in the same way that we chanted before. Al mezuzot beitecha ubisharecha ya-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? So in here, now notice that those pizzicles of the signs of the reading are all here. And you say Vayomer and not Vayomer. Why Vayomer? Because this pizzical in here, underneath the Yud, right here, is under this letter. So it's Vayomer and not Vayomer. Right? So all the signs, or pretty much all the signs you need to know, are in these paragraphs. This Shema is one of the two main topics that I wanted to cover today. The second topic is another thing that I'm going to share for you. Tfilat Amidah leShacharit leShabbat. In here it says Shabbat morning Amidah. What's an Amidah? The word la'amod means to stand. And we stand for the Amidah. Why do we stand? Because the Amidah is, for the most part, the prayer that the rabbis composed in our attempt to dialogue with God. We have every day the possibility to converse with the creator of the universe. There are two versions of this. One version is called badly the silent Amidah. Why is it called badly the silent Amidah? Because it's not silent. It says belachash. In other words, a very soft voice. Very soft voice. And this is, like I said, an intimate way. Of course, we're standing. How could we not be standing when we actually in front of the Melech Malchei Amlachim, of the King of Kings, of the Sovereign of Sovereigns? Would you be sitting down in front of a judge? Would you be sitting down, unless the judge tells you to? You will be standing. In fact, I remember in school, I don't know if it happens to you, but in my school, when the director of the school would come to our class, all of us will be standing up. All of us will be standing up as a sign of honoring what? Not the person. In that case, what it represents, the knowledge, right? So we stand for the Amidah. In our case, as I was saying, one of them is when we say it on our own, and then we have the possibility of reciting the Amidah together. Now I'm going to say something that Rambam Maimonides said that I understand. He said, you know what? Let's all read it together. Let's forget the silent Amidah or the Amidah in a soft voice. Why? Because he was concerned that many people didn't know how to say these words. So we thought, if we all say them together, we are all still in the same room, in the same spiritual room. All right? Now, I have sent you a recording of this first paragraph. Actually, what we do many times is a combination of both systems. We sometimes begin to chant all the way to what is called the Kedusha, or the sanctification, the Kedusha translated in here. And it goes all the way to the words Ahel HaKadosh, the sacred, the holy God. And after that, we continue with the next 4 blessings of the Amidah. We continue on our own. And then we go all the way to the end of the Amidah. and we do two things. Sometimes we sing, Ose Shalom Bimromav. There we're marking. Or sometimes we sing a nigun, a melody without words. Why? In order not to disturb the beautiful inspirational ambience that we have. So I'm going to come back to the beginning, the part that we chant together, that goes like this. Again, I sent you a recording. I'm sure, I know that Christina has sent it to you. If you haven't been in part of this list, please ask Christina for it. Or if you have any questions during the week, please, Ramón.Tasat@gmail.com. Send me any questions you have. Here is what we say. Adonai sefatai tiftach. May God open our lips, or my lips. Ufi yagid teilatecha. So I could tell your glory. Okay, isn't that beautiful? And then we sing. So notice in here it says with patriarchs and matriarchs, or with patriarchs only. This text over here is the text, the most traditional text that only talks our ancestors, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, only the fathers, so to speak. And this one has Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and then the matriarchs, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. Other than that, everything else is exactly the same. So I'm going to use the matrix too. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah. I hope God is the one calling. Ha'el Hagadol Hagivor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Koneh Hakol ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imaot u'mebie Goel livnei bneihem למען שמו באהבה. The high holidays, as they are called, I'm not sure that I like that word because I don't know that they are higher than Shabbat, but that's what people call them. Sometimes people call them HH, which I like even less, right? So the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe, which I prefer to use, have a different melodic music for this. So for Shabbat, this is what we're learning, and I hope that you use it many, many times during the year. Many, many times during the year. Right? Then you notice that there are some words underneath. זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים וחותפנו בספר החיים למען אלוהים חיים. Only on the Shabbat. Remember last week I told you about a number of Shabbatot, the plural of Shabbat, during the year. One of them is Shabbat Shuvah, the Shabbat in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. You would say these words. Remember us for life, sovereign who delights in life and inscribed us in the book of life for your sake, God of life. That is only said in that Shabbat, but not on a regular Shabbat. Should I say it again? That's why this is small. Because only once a year On Shabbat, this is said. Okay? And then, Melech Ozer, Ufoked, Umoshia, Umagen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Ufoked Sarah. Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Meitim Atarav Leoshia. Then we have two phrases. One that happens between Shmini Atzeret, after Sukkot, and the holiday of Pesach. Mashiv haruach umorid hageshem. You cause the wind to blow and the rain to fall when rain is needed in the land of Israel. And it's from Pesach to Shmini Atzeret. You say morid hatal. You cause the dew to fall. Why? Because that's the time when rain is not needed, but we still need some humidity. And then we come to this next paragraph, another poem that sometimes we chant with this melody. Not always, but sometimes. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechaye meitim berachamim rabim, somech noflim berofeh olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה Hametim. Right? So what happens after that is the next paragraph called the Kedusha, that unfortunately we do not have time to cover right now, because if I wanted to come back, I should exactly be 1 hour long. Thank you, everybody, for giving me your attention. Thank you for practicing all this. Next week, we're going to begin from where we left. We're going to actually be doing, and I'm going to ask you to chant the first paragraph of the Shema. I'm going to ask you to begin chanting the beginning of the Amidah. And there is no right and wrong. I wanted to do it. And we're going to together lovingly learn how it happens. You have all the materials for it. Again, you're going to get a lot more from this class if you little by little begin to practice. And if nothing else, you're going to get a more familiarity with the service and allow you to be a more active participant in services and feel that you're included in them. Many times, the reason why we don't want to come to services is because we feel that we have no idea what's going on. This is the time to learn. I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to perform a mitzvah, to educate. We'll see you exactly at the same time next Monday. Again, if you have any questions or any things that were confusing, shoot my way.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
yes, and
Thank
if you,
you.
Shabbat Shalom. There you go.
Shabbat shalom.
There you go.
Shabbat
Be
shalom.
with
Take
us.
care.